this. We had a lot of fun, and wanted to ask a few more questions.
Sure, no problem.
Maybe tease a few more out that you didn't understand. So our first question would be, how do you recommend PhD students and junior faculty to deal with the writing expectations of publishing?
It's a very good question and difficult for young faculty now coming out of programs, PhD programs, to feel the pressure of having A-star publications already in hand. And what I think that points to is the need to early on develop very good and strong research projects with collaborators in the program, their supervisors, and really looking at how they can best add to the existing projects, and to not, if you like, focus on too many different areas. I think far too often, if it's maybe out of a sense of panic or there is a real concern as to the job market, rather than start many different leads on projects that often don't result in very much. Trying to select both partners and projects where you have a passion for the topic, the area, what it will contribute into whom, and that will be much more rewarding and a much better possibility of being successful in both publishing and deriving benefit from research.
So there's I assume that there's this assumption in your response that PhD students and younger faculty have a lot under their control, but well, in my personal experience, that's not always the case. You might want to be working with like a Michael Barrett or Professor Big Shot, and it's difficult to approach him. So how do we manage it?
So I think that's right. That you don't always have the options available to you, the breadth of options. But what that means is I think developing an area and a research topic with very exciting both data and potential, and then I think you need to be less, if you like, afraid of engaging with people that have a strong affinity, because actually, if the timing is important. If you're coming too early with not much data and not a half-baked idea, then you're right. The probability is that things won't go very well. But if you really show a passion and great data and innovative ideas and a real investing into making a theoretical contribution and a contribution more generally, you will find much more possibility. It is true that people are very busy. And so, I do get a number of people approaching me, and that it is difficult because I need to be able to work with my doctoral students and have that responsibility to them. But if there is a possibility and time and space to work with a very exciting project that is closely linked to my areas of expertise and where I can contribute, then there's a possibility that will develop.
That sounds hopeful. I hope most of the crowds will think the way you think. The next question that I would like to ask is quite near to our heart as a community of researchers. Has to do with collaborations. You spoke a lot about collaborations and tips and tools, how to approach people, how to understand them. You showed this great catchment about people like saying different things at different times and yet agreeing to go on a meeting. So what tips on collaboration would you give researchers from your experience?
Yes. Well, there's a number of points. What's your motivation for the collaboration? And why does the other person want to collaborate with you? Understanding that at the very onset is important to see whether it's the right partnership or the right way of engaging for the research. I can tell you mistakes you can make to avoid, in that we often think that because we have strong social relations and we have good friendships, that those translate into good working relationships. Sometimes they do, but often they don't. And so it's important to, and for the sake of the friendship, to really see and understand yourself. What I mean by that is we're all gifted in different ways, and very few of us are gifted across the board in terms of the research capabilities. Some people are amazingly creative and have loads of ideas. Other people have such an in-depth knowledge of the literature that can help fill gaps. Others are just wonderful if they get the ideas to frame them. And others still are able to make sense of and push through and develop contributions which just doesn't fall out of the findings. These are different skill sets. If you are teamed up, let's say you, and I'm sure you are a very creative researcher, but you are not as strong in some of the other areas. If you team up with somebody who's equally creative to you, but has the same deficiencies, then the challenge would be that you'll be frustrated because you'll both have too many great ideas, but not be able to share them and to develop them into proper and good publications.
Thank you. There's one last question that is related to this, and then we'll let you go. How do you try to contribute more widely to stakeholders in your own research? The stuff that you're doing and you're showing today was amazing, but not everybody has a platform that you have, the leverage and so many years of publications. But so for the people at different stages in their career and trying to get to where you are.
So you're right to say that there's a time for taking what might seem a risk to dilute one's bandwidth, to be doing contributions beyond what's critical as a young researcher in publications. And that has to be central, particularly in years. But I think what I'm finding in the UK in particular is that our students are really, because of the institutional pressures that we have around research showing impact, which translates into how much funding you get as a research school, that they are taking seriously and designing into their research opportunities and options, if you like, for the future to really be in a position to be impactful more widely. That means that when you exercise those options, and not to do them too early, because then if you sacrifice your publication capabilities, then you're not going to be continuing in research in the way which you probably would like. So it's a timing, it's a designing, it's a thinking carefully, and it's maybe waiting in some cases to, as you said, to do and engage in wider contributions as your career progresses.
We have one last question. I know that the previous question was supposed to be the last, but as a PhD student myself, and I'm sure most of our other PhD students in OSIS and IS areas would be interested in your general perspective on what you think we should be focusing in terms of topics, in terms of ideas, in terms of, we know that like you are a strong advocate of practices and the ontology of social construction of reality and stuff like that, but what else do you think has potential for young people looking for topics, people looking for areas they think they can make a name?
Yeah, well, it's a good question, and the answer I will give you now may not be the one you want to hear, but it really is true. You need to be guided by your desire in your gut. What are the theoretical areas that will give you ongoing stimulus to be fruitfully investigating them for a long period of time? So I'm cautioning there against selecting because that's where the bandwagon is currently. At the same time, you need to be pragmatic in the sense of, and I've also had problems earlier, well, not problems, but your work will not be easily recognized as a younger researcher if you're breaking ground alone, or if if the timing is too early for your contribution. So you're right to see in the existing key bodies of work, and it depends on what you do. Is it design science? Is it practice theory? Is it institutional theory? Discourse? Or is it, what are the phenomena and the potential growth and importance of those phenomena? I think I'd look at that first, because a really exciting project that is in everybody's minds, both whether it's policymakers, practitioners, or researchers is something which you want to identify in different areas. I mean, for me, it's at the moment I'm very excited on mobile platforms. I think they will continue to be really amazing, particularly in emerging economies, but everywhere else. And so we're at the early stages really of looking at the different ways in which the generativity of platforms and the way in which through convergence there are opportunities for developing new understandings of value creation by these platforms in whether it's climate change or access to clean energy or financial inclusion. And I think that sort of a topic will be enduring, will be exciting, will be in the news so that you get the wider impact automatically.
Thank you, Professor Barrett. It's been a pleasure talking to you and listening to your keynote address as well. We hope to be able to come back to you for more advice in the future as we grow in our careers and as we continue to publish. Thank you very much.
Thank you again.